Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today you're going to be cooking with me and I'm going to make one of my favorite things to make, Cajun pasta and jerk style salmon. So let's go. First thing I do is get the pasta ready. I'm going to boil some penne and I fill a pot up with about halfway with some water, and I'm gonna boil that until the noodles are nice and soft and ready to go together with all the other ingredients. So let's do that. About halfway, not too much water. It's not a whole lot of pasta. So yeah, I start putting the boil ready. I already have some penne open, so I'm just gonna throw that in the pot too. It was just like maybe less than half a box. And then I use the Barilla penne, which is a really small box, so I'm just gonna dump the whole box in there. And put it on like medium heat, not too high, because I want it to like boil at nice and even. Again, I'm not a chef by any means. I just like to cook. I moved the pot over to my favorite eye. I don't know why. I just like cooking on that one better. I feel like we all have our favorite eye to cook on. So I like to cook on that one over there. So yeah, put it on medium heat. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of my pasta. I think at that point I was like, let me just put the whole box in there because it's not a really big box. And then I stir it up. Sometimes people put olive oil in the water. I learned not to do that just because like the sauce and all of that doesn't really stick really well to the noodles. So yeah, while that's boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the salmon. I have this salmon that already came like packaged or whatever, the fillet. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out of the packaging, slice it up, and then like clean it a little bit, and then I'm gonna season it and prep it for the oven. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking it out the package, and I was having kind of a hard time getting it out of the package, but yeah. So we get it out of the packaging. And it's a pretty big fillet actually. So I take it out, and little by little I like slice it into pieces. I think this one I got about 5 pieces out of it, which is a lot because it's only 2 of us. So yeah, as you can see, it's a really big fillet. I take my knife and I start to cut it into pieces. And while I cut it into pieces, I put it into a bowl, my strainer, because I'm gonna clean it after I get it into the pieces that I want. So yeah, as you can see, I'm cutting and I cut through the skin. I leave the skin on. Some people take it off. It doesn't really bother me. I don't eat the skin, but I leave it on there. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not a professional chef at all. So please don't judge the way that I'm cutting y'all. So yeah, throw the packaging away, and as you can see, I have my pieces of salmon right there. I'm gonna put it into the bowl so that I can get it cleaned up. I use a little bit of lemon juice and just like rinse the pieces so that they're nice and clean and ready to eat, or ready to cook so that we can eat. There's the lemon juice. And I start to rinse the pieces. There you go. So once I finish doing that, I take the pieces that I just finished cleaning them. I prep my skillet. I'm gonna cook them in my skillet. Spray a little bit of Pam cooking oil, just so that they don't like stick while they cook. And I lay them in there the way that I'm gonna cook them, and I'm gonna also season them in the skillet too. Also, you can see my post-pregnancy shapewear in this video. Please don't judge. Just in case you missed my first video that I did my story time on my labor and delivery, feel free to click the link in my description box and you can watch that video. And if you missed my last video, which I did a Q&A, I answered some questions about myself so you can get to know me, you can also click the link in my description box for that video as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, leave a comment below if you want to see me cook some more things. So yeah, we're gonna get to seasoning. I use some Old Bay. I love Old Bay. It's my favorite thing to cook on seafood, so I use a lot of that. I don't really measure my seasonings. I kind of just look at how the food looks, how it smells. Let my ancestors tell me when the seasoning is enough. So yeah, I used some Old Bay, and I told you I really like Old Bay, so I went back and I added some more. I love how Old Bay tastes on seafood, especially salmon. So that's some garlic powder. I added some garlic powder to that. Not a lot. I can't really tell y'all measurements, so you just have to feel it out, I guess. I go by eye. Some adobo, not a whole lot of that. Just sprinkle it over the salmon. That is some black pepper I added. It's fresh ground black pepper. For a little bit of kick. Let's see, what else? I look like I got confused there. Got some onion powder. I don't really like onion powder too much, so I didn't add that much of that. And this is the most important thing to give it a jerk style flavor. I just use the jerk seasoning that comes already pre-made. This is the hot and spicy jerk seasoning, so I don't recommend you using a lot of it if you don't like spicy food too much, because I think this one is like really spicy. But yeah, I guess that's a teaspoon. I use like 3 teaspoons and just rubbed it all over the salmon. And then I just rubbed all the seasonings together. So when you're finished, this is what it should look like seasoned. I had an extra piece, so I just went ahead and put that in some foil, but this is what it should look like when you get it all seasoned up and ready for the oven. So after I did that, I went to go check on the pasta. We're gonna stir that a bit just to make sure that the pasta noodles don't stick to themselves. Right now I'm checking to see if the noodles are done or like how much longer they'll need to be in there by like pressing a noodle up against the side of the pot. If it's soft, if it's ready, it'll be like soft and will like squeeze easily when you press it up against the side. Right now it's not really as soft as I want it to be, so I'm gonna let it cook a little longer. So yeah, back to the salmon. I'm gonna get some foil and put the foil over the pot with the salmon in it, over the pan with the salmon in it, and cover that up. And get that ready for the oven. So I used 2 pieces of foil to cover the skillet. And then the small piece of salmon, I just wrapped it up. And I'm going to put that in the oven. I set my oven to 350. And I went ahead and put it in there. And I just leave it in there. I cooked it for about maybe 45 minutes. 30 minutes with the foil on it, and then I took the foil off for the last 15 minutes. At this time, my pasta's done, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the strainer ready, and I'm running some cold water over the noodles just so that the noodles don't stick to each other while they're hot, because that does happen. So yeah, running just some cold water over it. And trying to make sure I get all the noodles out of the pot. I'm not finished with the noodles yet. We still have to make the sauce. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm getting ready to put the pasta together now, the whole thing. So I take some bell peppers. Usually I use some green bell peppers, but I didn't have any, so I just cut up whatever I had, orange bell pepper and yellow bell pepper, and I slice that up and get that to go in. I like to put those into the skillet first with just a little bit of olive oil, like just maybe like a tablespoon of olive oil, not too much because you're going to also add other things into the pan as you cook the pasta. So yeah, like I said, I'm slicing up the peppers into nice long thin slices. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to add the peppers that I just cut up to the pan. This part I'm super sad about, but my camera stopped recording while I was adding the ingredients into the pasta, but I also added some chicken broth in there. I'm seasoning now with the same seasonings that I used on the salmon, so brown black pepper, adobo, garlic powder, some jerk seasoning, and a little bit of barbecue sauce to sweeten it up. This is how it looks when it's done. You also want to add heavy cream, so heavy cream and chicken broth that I added, and a little bit of mozzarella cheese too. I can't believe my camera stopped recording, but this is how it looks finished. The salmon was cooking for like 45 minutes, and this is a finished result, and it's super tasty. Is something that I think is super easy to cook. It's delicious. Everybody loves when I make this. It looks really nice, and it can serve a lot of people. So thanks for cooking with me, and see you in my next video.